Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're heading into, well, one of the toughest places on Earth, the arid Australian outback.
Yeah, it really is something else. And we're looking at an animal that's just built for it, the red kangaroo.
Exactly, a real survivor. We've been looking at this National Geographic video, and it really highlights how they manage in such an extreme place.
It does. I mean, the conditions there, intense heat, hardly any rain sometimes. Their survival is really a masterclass in adaptation.
And it's not just tough, it's unpredictable, right?
Yeah.
No clear seasons, just these wild swings. Bushfires, droughts, heat
Oh,
waves.
absolutely. Forget predictability. They need to react fast. And the red kangaroo is, well, the acknowledged expert at that, really.
So our mission today is to get into how they do it. How do they actually cope with all that thrown at them? The video follows one kangaroo, Rusty, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, through his life. And it reveals some pretty fascinating stuff about how they reproduce, grow up, and, deal with danger constantly.
Okay, let's start with something kind of mind-blowing. Their reproduction. Female red kangaroos. They're almost always pregnant.
Pretty much, yeah. It's this incredible strategy perfectly suited to that boom and bust environment. Think about it. If conditions are good, they can reproduce quickly.
Right. And they can have, what, 3 stages of offspring going at once?
Exactly. You can have a tiny embryo, basically on pause, a joey developing in the pouch, and an older joey that's already out and about but still needs some care.
Wow. 3 different timelines simultaneously.
It's biological efficiency pushed to the max.
And that first journey, the tiny peanut embryo, as the video calls it, it's blind, hairless, minuscule. How does it even get to the pouch?
Pure instinct.
Yeah.
And smell. It just crawls its way up the mother's fur from the birth canal to a nipple inside the pouch. It's an incredible innate drive.
Amazing. And then, almost right after that one's settled, the mother can get pregnant again.
That's right. She ovulates, mates, a new embryo forms. But then, and this is key, its development just stops, halts.
That's the embryonic diapause you mentioned. It just pauses development.
Yep. And what triggers it to restart is the older joey in the pouch. As that one starts suckling less, the hormonal signals change and the paused embryo kicks back into gear.
So the pouch vacancy effectively signals the waiting embryo. Smart.
Very. It maximizes their chances. But there's a flip side. As the video shows, it can seem, well, quite ruthless.
How so?
If things get really bad, say, a severe drought the mother needs to conserve her own resources, she might actually stop producing milk for the joey in the pouch.
Oh, wow. So the pouch joey.
It might not make it. It sounds harsh, but it prioritizes her survival, meaning she can potentially reproduce again later when conditions improve. And if the pouch joey dies, that paused embryo can then start developing. It's a tough survival calculation.
Right. Okay, so let's meet Rusty. He's 3 months old in the video, still mostly in the pouch.
Yeah, very dependent. The pouch's safety, warmth, and food on tap, basically. The outside world is still a bit much.
And the mother's diet is super important at this stage, not just any grass.
No, she needs specific, short, green grasses. They have the right nutrients for milk production, which is critical for Rusty's growth.
Yeah.
Fur, bones, everything. Quality over quantity sometimes.
Makes sense. Because that milk changes too, doesn't it? Depending on his needs.
Absolutely. It gets richer in protein as his fur grows in, and then the fat content actually doubles just before he starts spending more time outside the pouch.
Like a tailored energy drink preparing him for hopping around.
Pretty much. And around 7 months, we see him doing just that, venturing out more. His legs are getting longer than his arms. By then, a big change.
And right around then, the video brings in the emus. Yeah. Totally different parenting style there.
Oh, completely. With emus, it's the dad who does all the work. Sole charge of the chicks for like 18 months.
While the red kangaroo dads are, let's just say they're not involved post-mating. Deadbeat dads, as you hinted earlier. It's just a different evolutionary strategy. Male kangaroos focus energy on size and dominance fights. Different strokes for different folks, even in the outback. But poor Rusty, exploring on his own, he nearly becomes lunch pretty quickly.
Yeah, the wedge-tailed eagle.
Yeah.
They're a serious threat, especially to young, inexperienced kangaroos. The video said something like over 10% of their diet can be young roos.
That's huge. And you see the eagle sizing him up.
He was lucky, really lucky. The eagle got distracted by something else. It shows how vulnerable they are at that stage.
So by 8 months, Rusty's basically out of the pouch for good, but still needs milk.
Still needs milk, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is another amazing bit. The mother produces 2 different kinds of milk at the same time
Oh.
from separate nipples. One provides a more dilute milk, suitable for the tiny new peanut joey that's likely arrived in the pouch by now, and the other provides richer, fattier milk for the bigger, more energetic Rusty.
That's incredible physiological multitasking.
It really is. Tailoring nutrition perfectly for two different stages.
Yeah.
And male joeys like Rusty, they're usually bigger, so they drink more milk before weaning.
But the weaning happens eventually. Mom cuts him off.
Yep. Tough love time. Her resources need to go to the new pouch occupant. Rusty has to figure out finding food entirely on his own now.
A big step into independence.
Yeah,
And soon after, he starts encountering other marsupials, right, like gray kangaroos and wallaroos.
exactly. It gives you a sense of the wider community out there. The grays, they need more water than reds, tend to stick to shadier spots. Wallaroos are sort of intermediate, often found near rocky areas.
And this highlights the water issue again. Reds are super efficient, concentrated urine, all that.
Extremely efficient kidneys, yeah. Much better water conservers than the grays. And because grays need water more often, sometimes they take bigger risks to find it.
Like the poor young gray in the video that gets stuck in the mud.
Yeah, that was a stark scene. Stuck, vulnerable, and then the dingo finds it. A harsh reality check about the dangers, especially around scarce water sources.
Rusty seems to have a good instinct for staying clear of that kind of trouble, though.
He does. But survival isn't just about avoiding predators. We see him sparring with other young males, play fighting.
Looks like play, but it's actually serious practice. It's how they learn to fight properly, build strength, develop agility,
Yeah.
skills they absolutely need later on.
For survival, and definitely for competing for mates, right? Those big forearms they use in fights. Winning those bouts is key to dominance later.
So practice makes perfect, even for kangaroos. And he has that funny encounter with the shingleback lizard, too.
Yeah, the two-headed skink. Just shows his curiosity, exploring his world, figuring out what's food, what's not, what's dangerous. Constant learning.
Okay, let's shift to the really big environmental challenges. Drought and heat.
Mm.
Reds are adapted, but they still need water.
Definitely. And the video shows that amazing effect of rain falling maybe hundreds of miles away in the Channel Country and how that water eventually flows down, bringing life.
A lifeline stretching across the landscape.
And when that water arrives, everything converges on it. Huge flocks of budgerigars, dingoes, eagles, emus, kangaroos. It's a temporary oasis.
A real gathering point. The video mentioned emus helping spread seeds, too.
Yeah, a nice little ecological side note. They eat seeds and disperse them as they travel, helping the vegetation recover.
Okay, fast forward. Rusty's 5 years old now, prime condition, thinking about mating. But there's a boss.
There's the king of the mob, usually a much bigger, older male, and challenging him is risky. Losing can apparently even shut down a younger male's hormones temporarily.
Wow, serious stakes. So Rusty backs off initially?
Wisely, yes. He avoids the fight for now. But the video highlights their incredible running ability here, that efficient aerobic system, big heart, powerful leg muscles.
And that hopping is super energy efficient at speed, right? Less energy than standing still, almost.
Kind of counterintuitive, but yeah. They use the tendons in their legs like giant elastic bands, recycling energy with each bound. It makes them amazing long-distance
I
runners.
go for the open plains. But there are other dangers lurking. Besides eagles, snakes.
Oh, yeah. The inland taipan, incredibly venomous. And the parenti, that huge venomous goanna. Kangaroos tend to give snakes a wide berth.
We saw that parenti actually eating another snake. An eastern brown.
Yeah, predator on predator action. It just shows how tough that environment is. Danger everywhere.
But Rusty doesn't forget about the top spot. 5 years later, he comes back.
He does. Bigger, stronger, more experienced. Ready to challenge the king.
And the fight is on.
Yeah.
It looks pretty brutal, ritualized, trying to land blows to the head.
Exactly. It's about establishing dominance, proving strength and fitness. The females are watching, assessing those strong genes. It's not just about winning one fight, but showing you can win.
And Rusty does it. He takes down the old king.
He emerges victorious, a hard-fought battle.
So now he's the dominant male, King Rusty. What does that mean for him?
Mating opportunities, primarily. We see him checking out females, doing that urine sniff test to see if they're receptive, ready to mate.
A quick check for ovulation.
Seems like it. But the window for mating might only be a few hours, so he has to be ready. And his job isn't done. He constantly has to fend off challenges from other younger males wanting his spot.
It's tough at the top, always looking over your shoulder.
Definitely. And besides rivals, there's always the heat. How do they manage that intense sun?
The videos showed them licking their forearms. Right?
Yeah, that's a key thing. They spread saliva on their arms where the blood vessels are close to the surface. It evaporates and cools the blood, like personal air conditioning.
Clever, but uses up precious water, I guess.
It's a trade-off, absolutely. Their reflective fur helps minimize heat absorption too, and they pant like dogs.
And the males have another trick for keeping things viable.
Right, keeping the sperm cool. Their scrotum hangs low, away from the main body heat, and they'll lick it too for extra evaporative cooling. They might even dig shallow scrapes to lie on cooler soil underneath.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah,
But even with all these adaptations, extreme drought and fire, that's a different level of threat.
it really is. When drought is prolonged, the grass dries out completely, offering little nourishment. Then you get dry lightning storms.
Igniting bushfires. The video mentioned huge areas can burn.
Yeah, devastating fires combined with record heat waves. It pushes even the kangaroos to their absolute limit. They tolerate dehydration way better than us, but there's a point.
A breaking point. And the females face impossible choices then.
The toughest. If there's simply no food or water, they have to prioritize their own survival. Milk production stops. Dependent joeys. They don't survive. Eventually, the females stop breeding altogether.
That's incredibly harsh. Even the big males like Rusty are vulnerable.
Very. Larger animals need more food and water, so sometimes they're the first to succumb in a really severe drought, and water holes become dangerous, contaminated, places where predators even turn on each other.
Just brutal scenes of survival, and these extreme heat events are becoming more common.
That's what the data suggests, yeah. And the mortality can be shocking. The video cited up to 8 out of 10 kangaroos dying in some areas during the worst events.
It really highlights their resilience, but also their vulnerability in the face of these massive climate-driven events.
Absolutely. But they are ancient survivors. They've been through countless cycles like this over millennia. And eventually, the rain returns.
Finally, after 12 months of drought in the video's timeline,
And you see them sensing it, moving towards the rain. The landscape transforms incredibly quickly. Green shoots appear, water fills the hollows.
life comes flooding back, and the kangaroos recover fast.
Remarkably fast. They regain condition, start breeding again. That resilience cycle kicks back in.
But there's always one more challenge, isn't there? The dingoes.
Always a threat. A pack of hungry dingoes can take down even a large kangaroo if they can corner it or wear it down.
But Rusty's back at full strength now, and he uses that amazing hopping efficiency.
Exactly. He can cover huge distances, 25 feet a bound, and crucially, as the video pointed out, he uses less energy doing that at speed than the pursuing dingoes. He can simply outlast and outpace them over distance.
A final display of his incredible adaptation. Escaping danger once again.
And there he is. Rusty, the dominant male, survivor of drought and fire, ready to pass on those resilient genes in this tough, unpredictable world.
So looking back at this deep dive, it's just staggering. The sheer range of adaptations the red kangaroo possesses is incredible.
It really is, from that complex reproductive system, allowing them to respond to conditions, to the physical power and efficiency, the heat management, the behavioral flexibility. It all works together.
A toolkit for survival forged by one of the harshest environments on the planet, constantly tested by fire, drought, and heat.
Precisely. Which really makes you think, doesn't it? When we see this level of resilience honed over millions of years, what does it teach us about adaptation, about survival, especially as environments everywhere are facing increasing pressure?
Yeah, what can we learn from the red kangaroo about facing environmental change? And what does their story ultimately tell us about, the sheer power of evolution, but also maybe the fragility of even the toughest life when faced with unprecedented extremes?
A lot to consider there. Their story is definitely one of both incredible strength and inherent vulnerability.